Hey guys, JT Shaver here with New Layer, and today I want to show you a light that I like so much. I use it in basically every single video that I make. This is the Intellytech LC-160RGBW II, and it is a 160 watt foldable LED mat. This light is not cheap, but if the situation calls for it, I think it is well worth the cost. Let's jump in and take a look at the basic features of this light and all the things that I love about it. First impressions are very important, and this kit makes a great one. It comes with what I consider to be the best possible case you can get. It has a hard shell with internal padding, it's lightweight, and it's IP65 certified, which means it's completely dust-proof and can easily withstand some rain. A case like this usually costs at least $100, so Intellytech is off to a really good start so far. Inside the case is the light mat, a softbox frame and diffusion panel, an egg crate grid, a mounting bracket, the light controller, the AC adapter, and a power cable. The build quality on everything in this kit is top-notch, just like every other Intellytech product that I've tried. There are some other really cool accessories for this light, which I'll show you a little bit later. The LED mat itself folds down to just 1 by 1 feet and fits perfectly in the case, so it's truly one of the most portable options out there. When you unfold this light, you get a 22-inch square, and after you add the diffusion panel, it's 24 inches square. You can mount it onto any standard light stand, and it's so lightweight that you can rig it up and put it on a wall or a ceiling or anything like that, and it fits really well in tight spaces. One of the main reasons I swapped out my Nanlite Forza 60 for this light in my setup is because it folds up so easily and so nicely when I'm not using it. Intellytech says this version is 10 to 15% brighter than the original, and I measured it with my Sekonic C800 using just the bare panel from 1 meter and got the following results. This light has an advertised color temperature range from 3000 to 10,000 Kelvin, and when I measured I got 3027 Kelvin on the low end and 11,014 Kelvin on the high end, so it actually has an even bigger range than it says. As far as brightness goes, I got 2830 lux at the minimum color temperature and 3200 lux at the maximum color temperature. At ISO 400, that's just under f10 at 1/50th of a second shutter speed. To put that into perspective, the popular Godox SL60W comes in at 2460 lux with the bare bulb, but keep in mind that that's a point source light, and this is 2 by 2 feet. If you added a 24-inch softbox to the Godox SL60W, you'd lose around 2 full stops. So in practice, the LC-160RGBW II is about 2 full stops brighter than the SL60W with a similarly sized softbox. Coupled with the fact that this is a full RGBWW light, it's pretty insane how bright it is for its size. On the tungsten end, I got a CRI and TLCI of 97.8 and 98 respectively, with a color correction number of 1.1 magenta, meaning that this light leans towards green. At the maximum color temperature, I got a CRI and TLCI of 88.7 and 90, with a color correction number of 0.5 green, meaning at that end it leans towards magenta. If you're wondering why the numbers at the maximum color temperature are a little low, keep watching and I'll explain. For the TM30 on the tungsten end, I got an RF of 92 and an RG of 97. At the maximum color temperature, I got an RF of 85 and an RG of 91. With the light set to 3200 Kelvin, I measured an SSI of 86, which is really great. And with the light set to 5600 Kelvin, I got an SSI of 73, which is really good as well. Now, it's really important to remember that the readings I took at 11,000 Kelvin for the CRI, TLCI, and TM30 are going to be lower than if you were to compare them to a light that is daylight balanced at 5600 Kelvin. If that's all too confusing, then just know that this light is really color accurate and really bright, and you're not going to have any issues with color rendering, except maybe for having to adjust your camera's white balance to account for a slight green or magenta tint. You can also adjust for the tint and post-processing. The last thing that I'll say is that although the measurements are a little bit low at the maximum color temperature, most lights don't even go anywhere near 10,000 Kelvin. The reason the Intellytech has such a huge range on this light is to maintain brightness throughout the more commonly used color range of 3000 Kelvin to 5600 Kelvin. In the normal usable range, the CRI, TLCI, and all the other measurements are actually really high. If you want to look at all the measurements I took for this light yourself, I'll have a link in the description to a tool that I made where you can compare lights from any brand. When it comes to fan noise, I'm sorry to say that this light sucks. If you love loud fans, there is no fan at all on this bad boy, and it is completely silent. A lot of times to get the brightness like this light has out of a COB light, they have to move a lot of air to dissipate the heat, and moving more air means a bigger and usually louder fan, and that can ruin the audio in your videos. That was another big selling point with this light for me. I wanted to be able to turn it up all the way to 100% without having any fan noise and just not have to worry about that at all. Some lights like the Godox SL60W II do have a silent mode where you can turn the fan off manually, but just keep in mind that if you have it in that mode, you're limited to about 35% of the maximum brightness. The control unit for this light is completely separate from the rest of the LED mat, and it has a built-in V-mount or gold mount battery plate, so you can easily slap a battery on this and run it portably when you don't have access to wall power. It also comes with a Velcro strap adapter, so you can attach the AC adapter to the back of the controller like a V-mount battery, and it just keeps everything nice and neat. As a side note, most of the plugs that come with this light are the locking type, so that's just the nice attention to detail that I like to see from a more expensive light. The LC-160RGBW II comes with about 20 built-in special effects, including some of the popular ones like lightning, a flickering TV set, a police car, and more. Special effects on a bicolor light aren't quite as useful, but the fact that this light has the full color spectrum just makes it really versatile. This light does have DMX support for remote control, and it also has a wireless remote that's optional, and that brings me to the accessories. The LCWR3 Mark II remote is $99 and controls every aspect of this light. The screen on the controller essentially mirrors what you see on the controller box, and some lights aren't really like that, so I do appreciate how cohesive this entire system is. The only small nitpick I have about the wireless remote is that the plastic covering the screen itself has a lot of texture to it, so it's just not as easy to see as it could be. It's a really minor thing, and I haven't had trouble with it so far, but it's just worth mentioning. Another really cool add-on for this light is the Chimera Pancake Lantern Kit. That kit turns this light into more of a 360-degree light source, which can be really useful for certain scenarios. Like when you need to light your subject but bring the exposure up in the entire room at the same time, or if you're filming a couple people and you want to have one light source, like if you're filming around a dinner table or something like that. It's just a really handy way to more naturally light a scene, and it even comes with a skirt kit which you can customize to flag and block the light from going in certain directions. Intellytech also makes 20 and 32 foot extended power cords, so if you need that portability, you have that option. This light is super portable, and at first I thought one of the downsides was going to be the time it would take to set this up compared to a COB light and a softbox, but it turns out that's not really the case. If you wanted a COB light set up to be as compact as this light, you'd not only have to tear down and pack up your COB light, but also tear down your softbox and put that in a bag. So if you compare the time to set up this light with its accessories and a COB light and softbox separately, it's pretty much identical. With all the great things this light has going for it, it almost seems too good to be true, but there is one specific downside I wanted to mention. Still, it's pretty minor, and it's probably not going to be a deal breaker for most people. The one thing that I wish this light had would be a green magenta adjustment feature. That would allow you to eliminate any tint and really dial in the color temperature and more easily match this light to any other lights in your scene. Most RGB lights don't have that feature, but the ones that do, I find myself using it, so it would be a cool addition to this light. Like I said earlier, you can adjust your camera's white balance manually to account for that, or just adjust it in post. It's also important to note that depending on the brightness level of your light and the diffusion that you're using, the color temperature and the tint can shift a lot. So just keep in mind that there are outside factors that will have an effect on the color accuracy of all your lights. A single light kit for the LC-160RGBW II is $1,099. I know that's expensive, but I haven't seen any light with the same build quality, feature set, and brightness that this light has for a better price. If you need a bright, soft, and really portable light with a huge color temperature range, then I highly suggest the LC-160RGBW II, and like I said, I use it for every talking head video that I make. I do gear reviews like this every week, so make sure you hit subscribe and follow me on social media so you don't miss the next one. I'll also have links to this light and its accessories in the description, and they are affiliate links, but it doesn't cost you anything extra, and it really helps me create more videos like this. That's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.